I was unable to do like an immediate reaction or semi-immediate reaction to Pitbull's disputed win over AJ McKee at Bellator 277 over the weekend. So what I decided to do, I did record the fight as best I could. We were visiting family. I was unable to make something happen immediately, but what I decided to do was record each round individually and kind of respond to each round. Obviously, I have the benefit of knowing in hindsight that Pitbull won, and we all know that how McKee won the first fight via guillotine submission. Round one, to be honest with you, I thought both of them were effective with some stuff. I thought McKee looked more explosive. I thought there was three, maybe four strikes that McKee landed at distance, whereby Pitbull was unable to develop any counter at all. It looked like maybe the speed, or maybe McKee landed it on a half step or something like that when Pitbull was in mid step or something. But it was good timing by McKee on at least three or four times. It looked like he was pot shotting a lot. I thought I saw Pitbull trying to elicit strikes. Of course, he's a counter striker, so I thought I saw him sitting back, kind of trying to let McKee lead, and McKee didn't want to lead a ton. There was a significant amount of leg kicks by Pitbull as the round developed. I'd say maybe 90 seconds in, maybe 2 minutes in, he started to try to do some lead leg kicks. Of course, they're in opposite stances because he's orthodox and McKee is generally southpaw. I thought McKee landed an interesting number of kicks. Of course, the first one he lands off the bell, he runs across the cage and lands a body kick. If I had to score it for someone, I'd probably score it for McKee. Benefit of hindsight again, but me personally, just watching it, I didn't think that either guy really pulled away in round one. I would have given it to McKee based on some of the one-shot strikes that I thought he landed at length. But I thought Pitbull did some good stuff once he realized McKee wasn't really going to commit to anything in the striking game. I thought Pitbull started to probe out with that lead left kick to McKee's right leg, trying to elicit some strikes with McKee. Essentially, if you ask me, Pitbull was trying to lead but not using his hands to do so, whereby he was trying to get McKee to counter the leg kicks with his hands, and he could counter McKee with something powerful. I feel like Pitbull is an excellent counter striker. But that's my thought on round one. If I had to give it to someone, it would be McKee. I'm not one of those ones that's averse to 10-10 rounds. So me personally, I've got it 10-10 right now. And it's cool if you want to call that kind of a cop out, saying that it's 10-10. But again, I have the benefit of hindsight. But I've always felt that there's nothing wrong with 10-10 rounds when both guys show you some good techniques. Both guys are trying to adapt. I thought I saw Pitbull try to adapt, 90 seconds to 2 minutes in. Not necessarily sure that McKee adapted in the first round, but I definitely thought he did in the second round. Some very cool stuff. To me, it looked like he was trying to move himself in a manner that would make Pitbull think a punch was coming, and then he was stepping in and closing the distance with attempted elbows. I have him doing it at least 3 times, maybe 4. So I think somewhere, maybe in his corner, I didn't get the audio between round 1 and 2. I think somewhere in his corner, or maybe he adjusted himself, recognizing, okay, if I make some type of movement with my hands, Pitbull is going to counter with his hands. So what he did, to me, what he was trying to do was close the distance and land an elbow, get inside of Pitbull's effective striking distance with his hands, especially his big right hand, which sounds kind of crazy because Pitbull has like a 65-inch reach. I think McKee had like an 8 or 8.5 inch reach advantage. But to me, that's what I thought I saw him trying to do early. Having said that, which I think was a really cool idea, and I don't know a whole hell of a lot about striking, but that's what it seemed like to me. He was trying to close the distance real abruptly, pull his head off the center line, and land some kind of elbow, and making himself safe from Pitbull's overhand right or straight right in the process. I thought Pitbull won round 2 for real. I thought at some point he ended up on top. It looked like, I think he caught a leg kick and landed on top of McKee. Didn't really have any interest in any groundwork, any grappling down there. Landed 4, 5, 6 kicks to the leg that were, how much damage are they doing? Not a whole hell of a lot. McKee complained of getting kicked in the cup, and Pitbull didn't really, care, really, to be honest with you. Got back to the feet, and it looked like it ignited McKee. McKee looked like he wanted to be more active. Maybe 30 seconds of more energy, trying to lead, coming forward, I thought, on a straight line. I thought there was a moment there where Pitbull started to move laterally some more, rather than just approaching in a straight line. And he feinted left and right a couple of times. Then McKee did the same thing to him. And I thought there was a moment where McKee kind of lost. It was after that 30 or 40-second period where McKee was more energetic when he got up off the ground. The ref stood him up, actually, because there was no activity. After that 30, 40 seconds of activity, it looked like McKee kind of lost his composure, like he wasn't sure what to do and how to attack this man. I thought Pitbull landed 3 or 4 lead right hooks to the body, so there was something that he was doing to make himself feel safe on entry and make it to where McKee wasn't offering anything in return. I had it as a 10-9 round for Pitbull based on those 3 or 4 strikes. It continued work with the left leg, the lead left leg kicks onto McKee's right leg because they're in opposite stances. So I had it 10-9 Pitbull there. On my scorecard, I would have 2019 Pitbull at this point, but I could understand someone saying 19-19 as well. Man, the third round was not a fun one to score, but just a brief look back at round 2. Replay between the rounds of 2 and 3 did confirm really nice body work by Pitbull in round 2, so I'm assured to myself that he definitely won round 2. He had a body kick from opposite stances with his right leg to McKee's body, landed solid, landed clean. Couple of right hooks to the body. One of them landed clean. One of them was kind of blocked by McKee. There was a straight counter in there to a kind of a step-in knee that McKee tried. Actually, McKee was doing a counter knee. Sorry, but Pitbull stepped in, hit him with a straight right. So confirmed for me that some of those shots landed. And round 2 was definitely a Pitbull round. Round 3 is difficult, man. It's not easy to score. First of all, some notes. No jabs really being thrown by either guy. McKee threw a couple. They were throwing kicks to lead. Maybe they were trying to elicit strikes with the hands as counters. Maybe they were both cognizant. Both of them have a great reputation as counter strikers. But no real jabs to lead. No safe probing jabs or anything like that. No jab feints either. Around the 3:10 mark, there was an exchange. Looked like McKee stepped in with a left, and Pitbull catches him. I think Pitbull pulled his head off the center line, catches him with an overhand right, briefly knocks him off balance. Not a knockdown. Within a second or two, he's chasing McKee, and McKee shoots for a takedown and gets it. It's about the right around the 3:02, 3:04 mark, somewhere around there. Maybe a little earlier. Maybe a little 3:08 something. He gets the takedown up against the cage. They spend about a minute on the ground. Looks like Pitbull might get up, and then McKee dumps him on the ground again, somewhere around the 2-minute mark. Had some strikes from the top, intermittent strikes, not huge strikes, but landed some stuff from the top. Actually, there was one situation where Pitbull was trying to frame up, post up with with his right arm up against the cage and was trying to get up, and McKee did land a really nice left in there. It wasn't like it was something that could knock him out, but it was a really solid left. Around the 130 mark, 132 I think exactly, Pitbull goes for a guillotine. Tough angle on the head for a moment there. You could see there was some pressure, but McKee didn't look bothered at all. I mean, he said it in the press conference afterwards that there was no chance of him being submitted. But Pitbull thought that there was something there because he held on to it and tried to tighten it up a couple of times. The ref pulls his toes out of the cage, I believe. Right around the 50-second mark, McKee's able to get back down to the ground and escape. McKee controlled pretty much the rest of the third round. Not a lot of damage done. My gut says give the round to McKee. He spent 2:40 on top, somewhere around there, 2 minutes and 40 seconds. But the two most memorable portions of round 3 for me was the overhand right that Pitbull landed, and then the attempted guillotine. But I'm giving round 3 to McKee, but I'm even confused myself there. Like, what do you do? 2 minutes and 40 seconds of control. Did he land more effective strikes than Pitbull did? My answer is yes, he did. And so that is my justification for giving round 3 to McKee. I'm not just giving him round 3 because of the 2 minutes and 40 seconds spent on top. I'm saying that the strikes he landed from on top were, they did matter more, in my opinion, than just that one strike that Pitbull was able to land. So, on my scorecard, I have it tied. I have 10-10 round 1, 10-9 Pitbull round 2, and then 10-9 McKee round 3. But I could understand, anything in round 3. To be honest with you, if a person doesn't think McKee did enough on top, then I understand that. But in any case, for me, I think that makes it 29-29 through 3 rounds, I believe, if I have that right. So I'm going to make an observation about these two fighters, and again, you have to take that, with a grain of salt, because I'm not a person who has a ton of or any grappling experience or boxing experience or anything like that. I like both of these guys. I think Pitbull is undersized for fighting AJ McKee. I think AJ McKee has more of the physical attributes in this matchup. I really like McKee. I think that there's a lot of potential there, and what I mean by that is he's an excellent fighter. But to me, there are periods of time where he's not doing much, at least in this matchup. And I'm not saying in all of his fights. I'm only focusing on this one and these 3 rounds that I've seen so far. I have not watched round 4 yet, to be honest with you. I think he would benefit greatly from some really high-level boxing or striking coaches. I don't know exactly who he's with. I know that there was a time period where he trained with Aaron Pico. I believe in the post-fight press conference I heard him talking about his father being his trainer, and I'm sure, if that is the case, I'm sure his father's really good. In my opinion, he's a guy who would really, really improve greatly the opportunities he gives himself offensively if he was able to develop some classic jab. And I'm not saying rely on the jab for 80% of his offense and initiating offense, but I feel like there's a lot of ability there. I like the pot shotting that he does. I like his kicks. I liked when he switched to orthodox one time in round 3, I believe, and tried a spin kick. I think he's got some talent, some real talent at that level, with kicking. Obviously, he looks like a lightweight to me, at least compared to Pitbull, or maybe I need to shift those two guys down a weight class. Maybe McKee is just a natural 145, and maybe Pitbull is a guy who should be fighting at 135. But in any case, they looked like a different weight class in a lot of ways. I stopped. I digress. Forgive me from the analysis of the rounds, but I feel like Pitbull has maximized his potential. He's found a style that works for him. Counter striking generally moves, if you ask me, in a linear manner. I don't see a ton of side to side movement by him. He's not trying to set up angles by moving to his left or by moving laterally. McKee, I think, is a little. He's younger, I would guess. I feel like he's younger. I think McKee would really, really benefit from high-level boxing focus, and maybe there's some great boxing instruction at his camp. Just haven't seen evidence of it through 3 rounds. I'm sure that Pitbull's ability to counter has something to do with that. But I just feel like there's moments, there's 10 to 12 second time periods in this fight in the first 3 rounds. There's many of them where AJ McKee's doing nothing because he does not have a manner to lead in the exchanges and keep himself safe. I'm not saying that the guy's not a great striker. He obviously knows striking way, way better than me. I'm just going off of my observations that it seems like he would benefit from, some high-level boxing instruction and a way to lead in these exchanges but keep himself, defensively sound in the process. We'll get back to round 4 here after I watch it in a minute. I think round 4 perfectly illustrates how difficult some of these rounds were to score. I had just talked about McKee benefiting from some high-level striking, and I thought he did a really nice job from the 4-minute mark to the 3:15 mark. All AJ McKee in round 4 for that 45 seconds, and it was a diverse attack. There was a couple of jabs in there. I don't think either one landed clean. There was a straight left that landed clean. There was a straight left attempt to the body that I don't think landed. But he was giving Pitbull different approaches. And I even in my brain was thinking as prior to that time frame, that 4-minute to 3:15 mark of the 4th round, I was thinking to myself that McKee had established nothing. And when I say established, I mean he hadn't established a jab. He hadn't established front leg side kick. He hadn't there was nothing that had been established that stopped Pitbull from coming in and entering, they were at closer distance, by the way, as well. They were at closer distance here in round 4. I thought that was noticeable from multiple angles. But I have McKee up to around the 220 mark, somewhere around there. My notes, 1 shot at a time. He's landing a lot more than before. A straight left, couple of kicks. He feinted with the rear hip one time because he's in the southpaw stance. He feinted with the rear hip, and you could tell that a couple of those kicks earlier in the round had gotten Pitbull's attention because he feinted with the rear hip, and Pitbull kind of stepped back a little bit. And I feel like Pitbull's really good at keeping the distance he wants to try to counter at as the opposing fighter enters. Kind of that slapping wide right hook by AJ McKee kind of looks like Nate Diaz's, right hook slap type thing. He threw that a couple of times. 220 mark of round 4 was really, to me, Pitbull's first real strike. I think it was a straight right hand. It had been all McKee to that point, pretty much. A couple of my notes I'm writing fast, but they're kind of sloppy. 210 mark. Pitbull lands a right cross. 155 to 152-ish. There's 3 jabs by McKee, and two of them I thought landed. 142 mark, there's a straight left that McKee landed. 134 mark, or maybe it's 139, I'm writing fast, a straight left to the body. And it looked like to me right around the 125 or 130 mark, Pitbull was moving forward. And this, despite all these strikes that I'm reading out to you, he was moving forward. And it looked like around the 125 mark, McKee was kind of, I don't want to say frustrated, that's not the right word. But it looked like he was like, nothing I'm doing striking-wise is backing this guy up. Nothing I'm doing is keeping him out of this range. And it looked like he didn't want to keep that pace up that I kind of described to you by reading out the times and the strikes that McKee was landing. Right around the 125 mark, to me, it looked like it switched in round 4 and illustrates how difficult it might have been for some people to judge round 4. Me personally, I think I'm giving round 4 to AJ McKee. But I would not argue with anyone who would give it to Pitbull, because the last 125, Pitbull was pressuring him, backed him up to the cage 3 times. It's not like he trapped him there and landed a whole hell of a lot, but he did land some body shots. He landed, I thought, 2 right crosses, maybe 1 leg kick in that last 125. Right around the 42nd mark, McKee landed a little 1-2, but it didn't keep Pitbull off of him. I thought near the end of the 4th round, about 18 or 20 seconds left in the 4th round, to me, it looked like McKee shot for a takedown just to avoid the last 20 seconds being on the feet and Pitbull pressuring him. And I could be wrong there, and you're welcome to tell me, hey, that doesn't make any sense to me in the comment section. But from the 125 mark to like 22nd mark, I thought McKee was just on the back foot and didn't really have much more to offer in that 4th round. And this is what, again, makes it difficult to judge this fight. In spite of that, my gut says give this round to AJ McKee. I thought he was way more effective, in the first 2 minutes and 40 seconds, somewhere around there, maybe even a little more. Actually, I guess it'd be 3 minutes and about 30 seconds, 3 minutes and 25 seconds, something like that. I thought AJ McKee was winning the round clearly. Patricio Pitbull did a little bit more in the last 125. I'm giving round 4 to AJ McKee. I believe that means I have him up 39-38 through 4 rounds, I believe. And again, I'm judging this as we move along, and then stopping and then watching the next round. I went back and watched round 4 again before I watched round 5. I wanted to confirm, because I understand it through 3 rounds. I had it 29-29, and again, I'm doing this all through the benefit of hindsight. So I'm being open about that, at least to you. I definitely have round 4 for AJ McKee, even though I did forget or neglect to remember a couple of strikes that Pitbull landed. He landed a head kick, a right high kick, head kick that AJ McKee just shook off and even shook his head like, no, that didn't hurt. He also landed a countered left coming out of a break or after an exchange. And then I thought he landed a really clean right hand that I didn't, in my brain, didn't think landed clean earlier. Having said that, I still think AJ McKee's control of the first 3 minutes and 25 seconds-ish gives him round 4. So again, I have AJ McKee up 39-38 going into round 5. These guys do not make it easy on you. The 5th round ended up just as difficult to score, if you ask me, but it ended up with some really cool exchanges, especially as the round went on. There was a failed takedown attempt by McKee at the 2-minute mark that got stuffed easily by Pitbull, and from that point on, there was a lot of exchanges. It almost seemed like McKee was like, okay, I'm not going to take you down here in the last couple of minutes. We're just going to go after each other. And I thought it was really good, really great fight. Really great fight. Underrated fight, if you ask me. I dispute the notion that some people have said, hey, neither one of these two guys can compete in the UFC. I dispute that notion. I think athletes, especially great athletes, rise to the level of their competition. If you look at Justin Gaethje, when he moved over to the UFC, he lost 2 of his first 3 fights, I believe, and then has made an adjustment. I think these two guys would adjust, and I really like them. 2 really good fighters. Sloppy strikes by McKee early in round 5. Then a rushed takedown about 30 seconds in, but he completed it on pretty much. He got Pitbull down. He had 1 hook in along the fence. I thought Pitbull was defending well, but McKee landed a really nice elbow on the break as Pitbull was able to elevate, get back to his feet on about the 3:18 mark, 3:15 mark. McKee landed a really nice elbow on the break. He's very versatile. McKee can do so many things. He can execute so many techniques. Pitbull is more basic. There's certain things he does, and that's what he does. I feel like McKee has a wide variety of things he's able to do and do well. Back to the feet at the 3:12 mark, McKee became really active, but Pitbull was landing some in return. Straight left by McKee, 2:47 mark. Pitbull with a 1-2. The right definitely landed. 2:30 mark, Pitbull nearly landed a right high kick, followed that up with an attempted body kick. I'm not sure that either one of them did a lot of damage. 2:13 mark, McKee straight left hand. 2:07 mark, a 1-2 where I thought the 2 landed, and then a 1-2 which I don't think either one landed, but definitely more active with the strikes by McKee. And then it was weird to me at the 2-minute mark he shoots for a takedown, and I thought from the 3-minute to 2-minute mark I thought he was doing quite well with the strikes. Pitbull had landed some and had backed him up a little bit, but that one was kind of surprising to me. Then there was it was stuffed by Pitbull. 150 mark, Pitbull with a straight right. 142 mark, Pitbull with a 1-2. 129 mark, Pitbull with a 1-2, followed up by another one that I think maybe one of those 4 punches landed in that sequence. But then McKee started firing back right around the 120 mark, somewhere around there. Even exchanges. 103, Pitbull lands a fantastic uppercut to kind of complete an exchange, snapped McKee's head up in the air. Then I thought there was a clubbing right hand that Pitbull landed around the 59-second mark. 1-2 by McKee, 43 seconds left. They were really going back and forth. 3 or 4 seconds later, a jab by McKee landed. 38, and then immediately, almost, Pitbull lands a counter left hook, or tried. I think it maybe clipped, but not solidly clipped McKee, while McKee was throwing a left cross. So some great exchanges in there, really evenly matched dudes. McKee was able to secure the tie clinch with 30 seconds left. Nothing really landed. Pitbull then backed him up with a 1-2, and then there was a takedown attempt, a successful takedown near the end of the round. I thought, me personally, I scored round 5 for Pitbull, which I believe gives us a draw. And I don't think there's anything wrong with draws, especially when you have what I think is a pretty evenly matched fight. In my opinion, to use a football analogy, I think McKee has a higher ceiling. I think the striking acumen, the discipline of striking, and probably just the number of hours spent striking with the hands, it seems like Pitbull is a little bit more classic. I really like McKee's versatility, his length. I think lightweight's probably seems like it might be his better division. I'm not sure about the cardio at all. I'm not insinuating that he's got poor cardio, but that round 4 and that round 5, maybe even round 3, to me there was a couple of takedown attempts late in the round that just seemed quizzical to me. Almost seemed like, hey, I'm just gonna go ahead and try to take you down now and win this round. And I'm making an inference there that could be wrong. If you've listened this far, and you want to tell me I'm wrong, that's fine. But the one at the 2-minute mark surprised me. I think McKee is not as efficient with his strikes as Pitbull is. There's a lot of variety in McKee's strikes, but they're all pot shots, one shot at a time, unless it's a 1-2. Unless it's a 1-2. Every now and then, he'll throw, a three. I guess it'd be a 3-2. Sorry, a 3-2 from a left-handed stance. I'm right-handed, so it took me a second to switch southpaw while I'm talking and do that. But I really like McKee. I think he would retain the title with this draw, and I'm one of those people who has zero interest in seeing draws become an extra round. I think that once a fighter is trained to fight 25 minutes, they should not be asked to fight more than that. I think that's not fair to the fighters, not fair to their mentality when the decision's being read. I guess you would just keep the gloves on. Now, having said that I have it scored as a draw by doing the round-by-round scoring, which is what we do under the unified rules in the United States of America and most of the world. Having said that, if I was allowed to judge this on the Pride judging system, I would probably say Pitbull won. A very close decision. If you were to, allow me to give a percent to each fighter on what they quote won, I would say 52-48 Pitbull. So meaning it was very close. I have no problem if a person says that AJ McKee won this fight. He's a fantastic fighter. I'm not even sure how old he is. I'm not going to, I didn't look at it, to be honest with you. I suspect that he's probably at least 5 to 6 years younger than Pitbull. I know Pitbull's been around a long time. I think the size difference has something to do with it, but Pitbull was pressuring him and got inside his range in the last 2.5 rounds. McKee handled himself well in spurts, but I thought it seems to me as if he doesn't have a reliable weapon to offer when they're in a certain range. His kicks are excellent, and when he was at that kicking range, I thought he was in control of Pitbull, even if he was being backed up. And I don't mean back to the cage, but backed up to the, to outside of the black circle or whatever shape it is, of circle of control, whatever you call it. I don't think he has a reliable weapon once they got in close range, though. I do like his elbows, but he was throwing the elbows he was originating the elbow throw from outside of Pitbull's striking range and trying to close the distance so abruptly that Pitbull's counters were not able to find him. I have it scored a draw. Let me know what you guys think. I know this video went on a little longer. I won't do every MMA video like this. But what I intended to do was just go round by round and document my thoughts at the end of each round. I had not watched it until, let's see, it's Sunday night around 1 a.m., something like that, when I decided to watch the fight as I had recorded it. Appreciate you guys. If you listen this long, let me know what you think of the breakdown. Let me know who you think won the main event at Bellator 277 between Pitbull and AJ McKee.